We're just some good old boys. We never get to play. Just sitting here chatting, riding pine for every game. We're making our way the only way we know how. Making mistakes on the ice so the coach is sitting us down. We're riding the pine, chronicles of the fourth line. Just three old boys, Punchy, Langer, and summertime. Yee-hoo!
Yeehaw!
And welcome back for episode 6 of our Ride and Pine. This episode, we're going to tackle tough guys. The guys that drop the mitts, the guys that go to battle. And here we go, boys. How you doing tonight, Langer? Nice bring-in yet again.
Yeah, who is that? Who is it?
It's a disgusting apple.
That is awesome.
Who is it?
We're good old boys.
Oh,
Come on, that's what show is that from? Come on,
that's Dukes of Hazzard, right?
that's the Dukes of Hazzard.
Is it?
That's right.
Yeah, it took me a while.
Waylon Jennings. That's for the boys. 519 Montcalm back at Peter Road.
You're
for the boys.
You're just raising the bar week in and week out. That's what we're trying to do. So, Summer, how are you doing tonight, bud?
Yeah, man, I'm pretty good. Hiatus for a week, so a little bit to talk about. You?
Yeah, I missed you guys, man. It's been a whole it's actually been more than 14 days. We're about 15 days out in between shows here. But it's good to be back. Good to see you guys. As you see, I got a little bit different scenery. I'm on the road right now with the Goonettes. But yeah, this is pretty cool, getting a chance to sit down with you guys again. And we're gonna tackle tough guys. These are some of my favorite guys. When I was growing up, like, my favorite guys were always the tough guys. Even today, a good portion of my jersey collection, they're attached to many penalty minutes along the way. So we're all gonna let you know what a tough guy means to us tonight, and then in overtime, we think we got a good question in store. So here we go. Let's kick it off. And
all right,
we're gonna get the first periods underway.
You may notice Cam doesn't have the whistle this week, so I got nominated. Here we go. All right.
First period is underway.
First period underway with summertime. Thank you for the introduction. Great introduction. So tough guys, eh? Sorry, I'm just trying to get my notes over here. All right, there we go. Mm-hmm. So, funnily enough, my dad wasn't a big fan of fighting. And so, I always talk about Johnny. Mom gets upset when I call him John. He should be called Dad. But, I sort of say it like, sarcastically. Sure, John. But we have a good relationship. Anyways, sorry.
Do you got a pet name for Johnny, though? Like, do you call him
Yanni.
Johnny or Yanni?
Yanni. Oh, he's Finnish. No, that'd be Yanni. Yari. Yeah, Yari Somerville.
Side note, my accommodation here is on the corner of Somerville Street.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah,
Nice.
Well, we're everywhere. Yeah.
Just can't get away from it.
What can I say? Yeah. Anyways, derailing. So, I grew up thinking, trying to be convinced, because, I'm sure you guys enjoyed watching a good fight. Dad was of the mindset that it was better to sort of get revenge through a good, clean body check. Like a good Scott Stevens style body check, like season or career-ending body check. But
clean.
Anyway,
Scott Stevens doesn't even exist.
But not in today's game. But anyways, there's a recent hit in the game this week actually, where a player, I think it was a Canucks player. Who was it? It was Canucks and someone else. Might not even been Canucks. Anyways, player just at the center circle had the puck and was looking down to just make the pass, and a player came in from the front, but it was kind of to the side a little bit. But it was a clean hit, but he hit him off the puck, and he fell and slid like really violently into the sideboards. And it's a bit of a debate whether or not it was charging, because you could see that as you rewind the play, you see the player sort of take quite a few steps to make the hit. But yeah, do you guys know you're looking blank at me here? But.
Yeah, I didn't see that play, but did you guys see McDavid's elbow?
Is that the $5,000 elbow?
The $5,000 elbow, yeah. Did you see that one?
No.
Did he have three strides? Puck was gone and just elbowed him, Gordie Howe style, right to both, and then he skated directly to the penalty box.
He paid the fine in the penalty box.
Yeah.
Just pulled it out of his glove. Here you go, and here's a signed stick to go with it.
I seen that. Did you? And then I just seen one today, literally like minutes before we jumped on. Did you see Nathan McKinnon pull the classic beer league move? Like, guy's helmet falls off, he picks it up and just fires it at his chest. And starts a melee. Oh, yeah.
Like a chest pass in basketball?
Exactly. Picked up the bucket, just hit him like
really?
Here.
Really?
Yeah, that was,
I got to go watch that. Okay.
Might have been tonight. Yeah, there's other things that happen outside of the Senators, just saying. But anyway.
Is that because they were winning, like they won like 7-3 and he only got 1 point, so he was pissed?
Yeah, probably.
Possibly.
They did. I did notice a huge score today against someone. It was like 9-3 or something like that for.
It was Colorado.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the highlights yet.
They're a wagon, man, for sure.
They don't. The NHL doesn't show fights in their highlights, right?
They don't.
To TSN to see a nice tilt, right? And even then, they cut it short. They don't.
You know what? Though, back in the day, did they really show it on TSN and stuff like that? I don't think they ever.
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Oh, they did. Oh, they did.
Yeah. And they would break it down like slow motion.
Yep.
Like, if you look right here, this is the point where his jaw breaks. This is the point where his head hits the ice and he blacks out, right?
Because Darren DeTisha would always talk about dropping the flippers and someone's leaking. And
that's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, TSN's awesome, but the NHL Network is pretty... It's kind of Sunday school.
Yeah.
It's really filtered, and it's strange because it's I would say one of the more attractive part of the sport to an outsider, right? You're like, holy shit, there's something in this damn thing,
Makes it marketable in a way, like
that's what I mean. But I think because of it's like violence in a game, they don't want to show that part of the game, I mean, let's be honest, like they're trying to not phase it out, but it's really discouraged, right? They've put in a bunch of rules to, A, keep players safe, and B, not discourage. Like players can be fined for fighting, right? Now?
Yeah. But it's also part of the generation of kids that have come up. I mean, it goes right down to grassroots where they start penalizing, and so they weeded it all out. And the thing that people don't understand is the context. They just think people are out there punching each other in the face, but there's a whole narrative going on that people need to understand before that happens. Well, and sometimes that could have gone on for games or seasons. Like it's deep.
The code. It's the code.
Code.
There's a code in hockey where
there's a code.
You can't be swinging your stick and everything. There used to be policemen.
There's probably less of a code now than there was.
Yeah.
There's certain players that abide by the code, and other players. Like I remember watching Jordan Tutu drop the mitts with Jerome McGinley, and they looked at each other and went,
"That's a diverse fight."
And man, Tutu like in a flash, man, dropped his gloves. Like before Jerome had his gloves off, he was throwing haymakers, man. It was ridiculous. He sort of like jumped him, and Jerome said after game, he's like, yeah, well, there's a code.
Okay, Punch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
It's pretty
I
diverse.
don't. Where was the punchline?
I just commented that a fight between Tutu and Aginla that's a very sort of diverse fight.
Yeah.
I guess it would be sort of inclusive in 2021. That's good.
Right.
Do you remember in the World Juniors when Tutu was on that team and he was just running around crushing everyone?
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
Yes.
He became.
Oh my God.
he became
I remember
everybody's
him
favorite
trying to
player,
crush
right?
Ovechkin.
Just like a cannonball everywhere.
I think any Canadian
But he
that
couldn't
watched
knock
that
him
series-
over.
Yeah.
Any Canadian that watched that series, he was put on the map for them in that tournament.
Yeah.
There's a lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
there's a lot of guys through the years that are like that.
Yeah.
You see them in a World Junior tournament and they get stuck with you. But Tutu was definitely that guy.
Number 22.
Yeah,
That's right, 2-2.
Yeah, he was a beauty. Another good guy that I used to remember, like just running around banging guys, is Iggy himself.
Okay.
That sounded really bad too.
Yes, it did.
That was a diverse answer.
There's no place for that in our game.
No, I used to love Iggy though. Iggy was one of those atypical guys that could actually be a tough guy and score, which is.
Yeah, he had it all.
I think that's where you saw a lot of the. I think that's where you see a lot of the game now, and the tough guys being phased out is because there's so many Europeans in it now, and the speed and the skill comes with them.
Yeah.
And a lot of the enforcers nowadays, they're simply not good enough to play. Whereas before,
Well, there's no spot on your lineup for that guy because you can replace him with a skilled guy, or so
Yeah.
there's just no room anymore.
yeah.
Yeah,
And-
exactly.
And when they come over, they take a spot and they like to swing stick. That's Don Cherry.
Or fall down. Or
yeah.
didn't Ovi spear some guy in the balls a couple of weeks ago? Did you see that? Some young guy came out. Yeah, he just stared at him and just poked him straight in the bag.
He's just like, I had a picture of you on my
Who are you?
Damn it.
Ovi,
Yeah,
I
that's
used to
good
have
one.
a picture
Right.
of you on my wall.
Right.
Never thought when he got there, his first game against Ovi, he was going to get speared in the nuts.
Speared by Ovi. I don't know how it feels like that. Yeah.
He paid that fine on the way to the penalty box as well.
That's right. That's right.
At least he didn't drop the stick
Couple
on the
of-
ground and warm his hands.
Yeah, gave him a
Man.
couple of signed headshots.
Ovi is a solid fucking player, man. I'm talking about that tournament, with Tutu. Tutu, I remember twice trying to knock Ovi down, initiating the check and then taking the worst of it. Ovi is a tough motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
Pure goal scorer. Anyways, I don't. Yeah.
he's
All
huge.
right, I'm getting sidetracked. Okay, back to
We always do.
on the rail. I know.
all right.
Back to the rails here because my time's running out. So, anyways, Dad's reasoning for fighting was he's like, look, I mean, if you can't fight on the street, why can you fight in the arena? And I guess it sort of made sense to me a little bit, but. They were grown men I'd watch. But you go to the 67s and, they were kids. That didn't dawn on me then when I was young because I love going to the 67s, man. It was awesome, right? Awesome night out with Dad, the night lights and all the crowd and the yelling and the screaming, the fights and stuff, But anyways, so growing up, there was no sense. I was a Leafs fan. Fuck. But, my first sort of tough guy, but you talk about tough guy goal scorer, was Wendell Clark. There he is, just over the shoulder of Langer over there. Right? He was a tough guy. He could fight, he could score, he could do it all. Right? He was the cap. He was unstoppable, man. He was my hero, definitely. He had the hardest wrist shot. Dad, he was a wrist shot specialist, right? He was like, you learn, watch him, son, watch him. He can.
Yeah, no clappers, all wristers.
Yeah, he blasts that puck as hard as any slap shot with his wrist. That's because you can be quick and snap that wrister off and really surprise the goalie. Slap shots, but they're all fancy.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I know.
Dad's the favorite guy was Tiger Williams. His tough guy. That was sort of before my time, man. Just though, but yeah, I was watching a couple of videos of Tiger, man. He doesn't look very nice.
Oh, he was a mess.
And then, man,
those guys were like they were fighting battles just to get to games. Like, you know, like
that was a different era, right?
Yeah, that was a era.
Those guys were going out and being the MVP in the bar till like 3-4 in the morning, and then showing up for the matinee game.
Yeah,
or you'd roll into Philly. You'd roll into Philly, and 8 guys on your team had the flu and couldn't play.
Yeah,
the Philly flu in the 70s.
That's right. That's right.
Because they just beat people up, and they won a Stanley Cup by beating people up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, bullies,
yeah.
The captain had like 3 teeth in his head. It's great.
Is this the same captain who, when we were losing the 72 series, decided to go out and two-hand the Russians' best player and break his ankle?
Probably.
Same guy.
A lot of people don't talk about that move.
Yeah.
Harry Sinden said, "You need to do something about that guy." And he's like, "Okay, hold my beer."
I didn't know that. Really?
Yep. Took Varlamov out with a two-hander, broke his ankle.
And then, like, what he got? Like a 2-minute slashing penalty?
Oh yeah, probably.
Fuck.
Waving the flag. Yeah, we're the best. There's some dirt there if you dig around.
Was that
Bob Clark?
Was that the game where they're going home?
Well, that's when the Russians came over and did the Super Series, and Bob Cole made the famous call. Because if you watch the first 5 minutes of that, they were just dummying the Russians. Like, just, you gotta watch it. Like, just cross checks and slew foots and just punches in the head. And, like, it wasn't hockey. I mean, it's hilarious to watch. But
yeah. It's war, right? Yeah, you gotta fight every inch out there. And then,
and there's the whole, like, political slant on it as well. Right. You know, communism and capitalism and stuff. Yeah, good times.
Yeah. Yeah, I started watching them a while back, but maybe I'll turn them on again. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, some of those old games are super violent. It's so fun to watch.
Yeah, but you don't expect it in an international match like that, right? But that series, I mean, that was, there's been nothing else like it ever since, right?
No.
Like
that Russian-Canadian rivalry is off the charts.
Well, to me, that's kind of where it kicked off, right? Until that series, and as close as the series was, and the way the series went, right? When we went ahead and they came back, and then every game was like back and forth, and they played some and anyways.
Of the 4 games in Canada, I think they lost 3 and tied 1. Like they got smoked.
Yeah.
And again, it was political, and like that was the first time we put our best players together. And Phil Esposito's showing up smoking a cigar and wearing a fur coat, like he's like, whatever, like we're gonna win. And then he's like crying out in Vancouver, going, "We're trying, we're trying, guys, good. Stop booing us. They're actually good."
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's get back to the tough guys.
All right, so tough guys, right? Anyways, so. Ty Domi was probably like my first real tough guy enforcer, but one guy I will mention before I go on to the Sens here is Gary Roberts. He, to me, like was the epitome of like steel. He wasn't, like a pure fighter, man, but he tough.
He broke his neck.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He had a broken neck and had to leave and not play, and came back, and he's like a superhero now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
he
runs
until he was 40, whatever,
Yeah, he's the biosteel guy.
Yeah, he's the bionic man. He's training the new generation of how
he is, man.
Broke his neck.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Anyways, so when Chuck Norris needed help, he would call Gary Roberts.
G. Roberts in the phone.
That's right. I need some help, Gary. Move it.
Shiny,
I'm on my way,
Gary.
Chuck. Again, Christ, Chuck.
The Chuck Norris of NHL players. That's awesome.
That's such a perfect reference.
Who is the tough guy on the set? On the Yeah.
Sens tough guys. So try and go in order of appearance here. I'd probably start with Zdeno Chara. man,
I don't think tough guy though. When I think of,
well, you're thinking fighter, right? You know, when you think tough guy,
but
it's not necessarily fighter.
Yeah,
Zdeno Chara,
you're thinking
is
enforcer,
as tough as it comes, man. Yeah. Well, is he not an enforcer? Like, he's 6'7". The guy, I got a video for you here. He throws Brian McCabe around like a rag doll, a fucking rag doll. It was ridiculous. Brian McCabe's like, 230 pounds. Like, he was not
Brian,
like.
Yeah, but Brian McCabe's not a tough guy either,
man. Anyways, all right, fine then. I'll raise you, Brian McGrattan.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Okay,
now we're talking.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Charge almost killed Max Pacioretty in Montreal?
When
he rode him into the stanchion in the bench?
That's
and
where
the Montreal
glass was invented. That play right there. Yeah.
They tried to have him thrown in jail for that.
It was nuts, man. Like, I
he
remember
said it was an accident.
looking around. Yeah.
It's not
I don't know if I believe that. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was
kill him.
He took his head with his hands and rammed it into the corner, man.
Into his turnbuckle.
Some of those turnbuckle ones. You remember Ally Frady where he'd slide across the boards and then he hits the turnbuckle and his helmet pops off?
Yes.
And he's trying for dear life to hold that helmet on to not reveal the bacon strips on top of his no hair.
That's crazy. That was Rock'em Sock'em Hockey. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like Sideshow Bob falling to the ice.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
That's right. All right,
just hanging on for dear life.
I'll raise from Brian to Ray Emery.
There, I like
man, that motherfucker is. I rest his soul.
Not a good swimmer,
right? No. Well, it's really. It's strange how this man. You gotta wonder, right? You gotta wonder. Yeah. Poor guy, man.
Do you remember when he tried to beat up the that trainer in Russia when he was playing in Russia? And he beat the trainer up. He tried to put a hat on him or something, and he was on the bench.
Yeah,
you gotta find that video. And he's like, "No, don't do that." And he ended up trying to beat him up.
He only lasted like 6 months over there or something.
if that.
He was there for a cup of coffee, as they'd say.
Glass of vodka, and he came home.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Ray Emery was a lunatic. He beat up Martin Biron. I remember that.
Oh man. All right. Well, that's coming up anyways here. So we'll see if we can't get this up. I've got this problem with the freaking YouTube's always going. You've got it on restricted mode, and every time I try and turn off restricted mode, it comes right back on again. It's really strange. It's really strange.
It's probably stuff
all right.
from your other searches.
Let's take a look at Zdeno Chara here. So this is the one where he takes out.
Is a cheater
when he kills Max. Right.
No, it's not the Max Pacioretty, but we can try and find that one. This is where he takes out Brian McCabe. Watch how he throws him around. Here he comes. It's like, wait.
McCabe's like,
whoa, easy. And then he gets the code didn't exist there, right? He got right on top of him and just threw him down.
No one's going to help, eh? They're like, we're not getting involved in this.
Should we see a Brian McGrattan a little scrap? Like, man,
he was tough.
He just looks crazy, right?
Him and Chris Neal were some tough dudes for Ottawa.
Don't even worry about any of his NHL ones. Go right to the San Diego Gulls. Some of those highlights are
There's Lindros doing out there.
Oh, where is this here?
There's a net.
Here it comes. Yep.
There's the flippers. There they go.
There they go. And Domi.
Domi, yeah.
2 for 1 here.
He's a lefty too.
Right? These guys are pro fighters, right? It's like a wrestling match, really, right? I was explaining to the guys at work, you see how he's holding the shoulder and he's got a hold of his cuff on his sleeve, right? It makes it impossible for him to throw a punch. And then, when they hit the ground, that's it. That's all. He's like, yeah, we have the same code in rugby. It's like,
No, you don't.
I don't know that you do, actually.
No, and they give you a ticket in rugby, don't they, for getting rough?
Yeah,
Get a little card. Get a little birthday card that says no fighting.
I always, honest to God, when I watch that, what do you call it, rugby league, I think like I'm mostly entertained. Like the funniest part of that game is like when the guy gets tackled because he like humps the ground until the guy
he
runs away from him. Yeah, they
kind of bucks. Like, get off me!
It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like you just start humping the air and everybody runs away from you. I just laugh. It's so funny. Like I'm more entertained when a guy gets tackled, just watching him trying to get everybody off him. It's just so entertaining to me. And like for that reason, I actually like rugby league better.
Here he is. This is
I do too.
Because it's funny.
But this one's a little bit
This is the one
crazy.
where he fights two guys, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
And
this
he's laughing the whole time.
He just, yeah.
And
Look at him.
He's laughing.
He's smiling.
And the second
Didn't he have pictures of
boxers
boxers on his mask too? I think.
And
yeah,
and
he had Muhammad
Peter's
Ali on the side.
Yeah, he's laughing at him.
He's just giggling at him.
like Birana's not, and then
Someone
Peter's been looking for someone. Here he is. Oh, and he sort of surprises him. Thruff's like, "Come on, man, come on. All right, here we go." Emery's into it. This was a famous, sort of sense to it.
Yeah.
This got way out of
And he's
control.
still laughing.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish they'd mic'd him up back then.
Emery's
Good language.
I will say though, Emery is a good time. Emery is a good time. I actually got a chance to meet him when I lived in Calgary. I went out to the pub with a guy that I used to live with, and he was out there because my buddy knew Mike Richards, and he was there, and he is a good time, man. He is fun to hang out with. He was a good guy. God rest his soul.
How do you say Pacioretty? How do you spell that? Pacioretty.
You got a Pacior.
I thought, but are we not looking at tough guys in this show? Not
ETT.
sure.
I thought we were. I want to see the Chara. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, it's when Chara killed him.
Yeah. Chara kills Pacioretty. Oh, well, of course we got the ad here.
Yeah, we do
3,
not
2,
endorse
1.
any of this stuff.
No,
Nor-
whatever that
nor-
is. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here
Any
it
of
comes.
that.
Boom.
This is an accident, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I didn't mean to. I was just skating my lane. Look at that. Oh, my God. He's crumpled. You know what I mean? He's folded.
Buckled. And who's going to fight Chara?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Right?
Look at that guy.
Tell me
He's looking
he's
up
not
to
a
him.
tough guy. Yeah. Tell me.
He's not a tough guy. I don't.
Who's
look
gonna?
at
Who's?
Chara
I
as a
mean,
tough guy.
anybody else would fight someone to the death if they did that to their teammate. Zdeno Chara, he's the captain. Pacioretty.
Yeah, put Chara in front of anybody who could throw a punch like the boys in the '80s, and he's so cold early.
Yeah. All right. So last tough guy.
He's tough with the broken jaw thing. I'll give him that. When he broke his jaw in the St. Louis Boston Cup, but yeah, I don't know. I don't look at Chara as a tough guy. I look at him as a giraffe that plays hockey.
Oh, you got to pass me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Eat this. Boom. Oh, my God, man. Just kills him. Face
an accident.
Oh, my God. Like elbow up there. Make sure that his face doesn't come back, you know? Yikes.
He's beating up a child.
All he
Anyways,
sees is slot machines. He's like, I got to go to Vegas. I can't handle this.
All right, Summer, who's your next
Ottawa's
tough guy?
ultimate tough guy, Chris Neal. Man, this guy, he would fight
we're talking.
anyone, and he could score goals. You know, he wasn't a pure goal scorer, but he could score, man. Here he is fighting Chara. You know what I mean? Ex-teammates, right?
Yeah, see,
You're
there
talking
you
about
go.
who's going to fight
That-
Chara?
That's a tough guy. That's a tough guy. I love
Right.
Chris Neal, man. Chris Neal
Yeah.
was one of my favorites, and he was right in my era when I was really into hockey. That was the finals, eh?
He's a smart fighter. He knows when to fight, when not to fight.
Oh, it
you
wasn't
know?
the finals. Boston played Vancouver when they
Oh,
won.
was it?
Those Sens teams of the early 2000s
They
were
were
pretty
awesome.
good.
They were
Yeah.
good,
They
man.
were
We
tough
won like
bucks.
They had a good team.
5 or 6 President trophies in a row, you know, and then we're out first.
Had to play Toronto in the first round.
Yeah, that's right.
4 years in a row.
Finished last and then kicked their ass, man.
And
It
the
was
thing I liked about Chris Neal too, and we'll get to my list in a little bit, but some of my favorite fighters, the ones that I like the best, were the ones that could play, and he could skate. He could skate. Chris Neal could skate. He could dish. He could, he could move around. And he was one of those guys like we were talking about earlier with Tutu, just banging bodies everywhere. Like the type of guy that you want in a playoff situation or in a long series that's going to smash some heads with tough guys. One of those clutch tough guys.
Well, so I got a little story for you, but one last story here before I blow the whistle for period one. So going back to the 67s games, right? So, we still did it, as a young teenager, Dad and I would go. It'd still be something that we would do, right? And, I was 16, 17 at the time. I remember thinking, some of these kids are my age playing there, right? And a fight breaks out. And everybody's like, fight, kick his ass, blah, 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 like they do, right? Like the crowd does. And I don't know why, but I just thought, what the fuck are we doing? Like, I'm like watching these moms and dads in front of the kids encouraging like a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid to beat up another kid and kick his ass and punch his face in and fucking, make him suck sand, whatever. And it was just... and it was like, I'm that age, right? Would you be encouraging, like me to get my ass kicked? And I don't know. It just sort of hit home to what Dad was saying to me all my life. Whereas, like, if you can't do it in the street, you shouldn't be allowed to. It's stupid. It's barbaric. It's like, anyways. So, I will finish by saying, it was like the fight was brutal, right? Like he was getting bloodied. The 67s guy was kicking his ass, and it was just like fans screaming, "Chopper, sick balls!" Yeah. Like that's what I heard.
Braying for blood.
That's right, man. But it was Zenon Konopka.
Yeah,
was the guy. Yeah, anyways, all right. Let's move on to second period here. Cam.
All right, here we go.
Bring it home.
1,400 minutes played in one season, or sat in the box throughout his entire career. 445 games. 8 goals.
I feel bad I didn't do all the stats. Damn.
6 assists over 13 seasons. over 13 seasons.
Sounds like
my Hall of Fame numbers.
On home games, what he used to do is he would make it to the rink before the visiting team who skates first gets there, so that he could work out and get a good sweat on, so he could sit on their bench while they did their pregame skate, just so he could stare at them so that they would think about him all day long. Probably the most violent man that I've ever seen Chuck Nux. Tony Twist, buddy. Number 18 from the St. Louis Blues. Look up any one of his. You can throw that up in a heartbeat and just Tony watch Twist. The way this man throws.
All right.
His goal, I seen in an interview, his goal was to be the first ice hockey player to ever kill a man on the ice. Like,
do you remember the man's name?
And you got to have goals.
Tony Twist.
No, but who's the man he killed? He didn't kill himself.
No, his goal was just to be the first hockey player to knock a man dead on the ice. That's what he wanted to have happen, was just have that story come out with.
It's a very, very stable person.
Wow, okay.
Completely stable. Every fight that he ever had, he would challenge the other guy, and he would tell them, hey, loser gets pizza, winner gets beer. Then he would consciously make sure that he goes and finds that guy after the game to make sure it happened, take him out on the town, no matter what city they were in. He'd buy them a beer, and they'd go out for a feed after every fight. That kind of guy, a guy that absolutely loved it. To me, that's a tough guy. You look at Brett Hull with an 86-goal season, following a 72-goal season. Adam Oates dishing over 85 assists a year, that's because Tony Twist would kill anybody who looked at him. Here he is, and he fought everybody, man. There's Rob Ray. Rob Ray's on my list too. I went to so many.
Rob Ray just.
You know.
See, no code there on the ice. Still going.
No, that's violent. Yeah. He's just violent.
Yeah.
Man. He was one of the most violent fighters that you ever see. Like almost as violent as that mustache. Like, you know what I mean? Oof.
This is obviously before the Rob Ray rule was instated.
Yeah.
I was going to touch on that as well. So Rob Ray, here we go. He's in the second one. This is another tough guy. He's on my list too. Rob Ray, a couple stats about him. One of the guys that he would wear the least amount of shoulder pads possible, and he'd always ensure that his jersey look at his jersey, it's way shorter than it should be. And it was so that when guys went to pull the jersey, they took everything off. They took everything
grab onto him.
Off him, and he'd end up bare-chested, which means he could grab you, but you couldn't grab him.
Yeah.
And it was guys like Tony Twist and Rob Ray that kind of helped phase out that game. And these were the guys that were most affected by guys that come over from Europe and took all their jobs. You know what I mean? That's the way they looked at it, is they literally were fighting for their jobs week in and week out. So there's two of my faves. Again,
do you remember that idiot in Buffalo who climbed the glass? And went to the bench,
and he got hit.
And Ray pumped him 76 times in a minute or something.
Yeah. What was it? I think he threw 17 punches in 10 seconds or something like that.
What are you doing?
It was something retarded. He was on the ice, and Rob Ray was
in front of the bench,
in the bench, just pumping him. And that's what they used to teach you too. The piston movement, right? You grab onto the shirt, and then you just boom, boom, and you just alternate like a piston on a car.
The piston technique.
Yeah, the piston technique. Yeah.
Nice.
I was not taught that.
No, I wasn't either. I missed that one.
Yeah, midget juvenile, but I was taught it. I was taught it by some elder statesmen that gave me a little hint as to which way to work. But yeah, so those were two of my guys. Then I guess another guy that I used to love watch fight, and it was just because he was the heavyweight of his time. And although this wasn't a big fighting time, George The Rock. George The Rock was that type of guy. He might get you 2 goals during the regular season. He'll get you 3 in the playoffs, and he'll nobody wanted to touch George The Rock because when they knew, first of all, Georgie was a southpaw. He was a southpaw, and he was a monster. And he was one of those guys. I think there's a fight out there where he fights Bugard. It's the first time I've ever seen Bugard actually get stood up. You know what I mean? And he was just unreal. So he's on my list as well. But you don't need to look up that fight. We'll look up this one. Look up this one, Summer.
Go.
So my all-time favorite fighter of all time, I know we were supposed to make a list of 5. I guess number 4 would be Zenon Konopka, the guy that you just mentioned, played for Ottawa, total journeyman, went to high school with the guy.
Destroyed someone in front of me. I was scarred for life.
Dude, I was looking at a couple of interviews of his while I was trying to do some research for this Tough Guy episode. And he was saying in an interview he's got over 310 stitches in his head, in his face and in the surrounding areas, just from being just such a beauty out on the ice. And he was one of those guys, but again, he stuck around in the NHL because, like I was saying earlier, it got to a point where you had to be able to do something. You had to be able to skate. You had to be able to do this. And Zenon Konopka, the year that he won, or I guess it's not winning, but the year that he had the most penalty minutes in the NHL, I was going to say the year he won for having most penalty minutes, but just the year that he had the most penalty minutes, he was also number 3 in the NHL in faceoff percentage. So it's guys
right?
They had to do something else.
That's an interesting stat.
Yeah,
I know, right? So he was one of those guys, because Zenon Konopka, really, if you think about it, he's only been out of the game for 2 or 3 years now, and he stuck around. He was playing on some good teams. He played with Tavares, he played with the Cavalier, he played in Ottawa as well. You know what I mean? Played with
Buffalo.
Played with a lot of good players, and when he played
Minnesota,
when he played for the 67s, the Ottawa 67s, he was their captain, and he was their biggest point producer. He was one of their top players.
Yeah.
But obviously, another one, sad to see him go. But I can't even talk about a show of tough guys without Bob Probert.
Probert
Is, you know, if you look at any type of sport and you want to say there's a GOAT, he's the GOAT.
No shit, eh?
He was the king.
He's the GOAT.
The king.
He was the GOAT enforcer.
Yeah.
Because he was not only the tough guy that's going to go you anywhere. Like, he'll go you in the bar. He'll go you down the street. He'll go you in the hallway. He'll go you on the ice. And you always knew that if Probert was playing, no matter what tough guy you were getting it. And
he made the All-Star team one year too, legit. Not John Scott, but like legit.
That's where I was going next. And he was also one of those guys that could produce. And he was playing alongside some of the best players that will probably enter the Hall of Fame one day. So that's my list, boys. We were talking about making a list. There's my 5. That's my
nice.
Mount Rushmore plus ZK. That's my fight around Mount Rushmore right there. That's a good second period for me.
Not a bad list there. Yeah, Probert. Yeah, I've got a little surprise with Proby at the end.
His book is excellent. If you get your hands on it, it's quite sad. Because drinking is what got to him, but that, from what I've read, the Detroit organization basically saved him until he was done.
Yeah.
But like, he started drinking at a young age, and he talks about he fought because he didn't want to. At a point, he just, and he sat there and he'd be thinking about it for days. And I guess a lot of tough guys think about that. And he's just like, damn, I got to go do this. And you get people like Domi out there trying to, like a bulldog, barking at him all the time. And he's like, man, if you just shut up.
Yeah.
I don't want to punch you out again tonight. So, but yeah, get your hands on his book. That's a good way to finish it, because that's one of the more powerful hockey books I've read.
Right. Okay.
Good stuff.
Cool. Okay.
Tough.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that. I guess if I was going to give a 6th spot, it would probably be handed out to Domi, and he's got a great book as well. It's called Shift Work. It's a really good book as well. But I think that obviously you guys have seen Ice Guardians. I think that doco, the way it gets you inside the mind of a hockey player, is absolutely awesome. Well, it's actually featuring Brian McGrattan as well as Zenon Konopka, a couple other guys too. But yeah, it's all about the inner psyche and a little bit about code and yeah, it's a really good in-depth look at the life of an enforcer and kind of what.
Let's talk about the addiction to painkillers and the constant headaches.
Well, there's a W5 episode that I sent you guys the link for.
Yeah, I watched it.
That I saw. Yeah, because Zenon Konopka's in it, and it talks about these guys. Like Ryan Kessler's like basically broken. His body is just shattered. He can't do anything anymore because of all the painkillers and stuff he's taken, and it's really sad.
Yeah, it was sad when he was talking about like how if he wasn't the way he was, he'd be able to spend and lift his kids around, and it's just wrecked. Before you go on next period, it just got me thinking. This is my own personal thing. I remember when the movie Goon came out. Yep.
And as I've gotten older, I cringe at that because that's what the non-hockey fan sees, and it's a circus, and I watched it, and I just thought no, and I didn't even watch the sequel because I'm like, this is the wrong message that non-hockey fans are getting, and they just you talk to Kiwis that don't know hockey. Oh, you can fight. Well, no, you can't really fight. It's illegal. You get a penalty.
Yes.
But that's what you see, and it's not just Happy Gilmore trying to kill someone with a skate or. Like it's part of it, but it's just you've dramatized it, and you've kind of, for all the work we do,
they took
Hollywood, and we grow up with it, and we know the place of the tough guy. But to me, that's exploiting it, and it's like you're missing the context.
Yeah.
By just having some dude out there who can't do anything but punch guys out, and it's like you can't like Punchy was saying, you had to be able to play hockey.
Yeah.
You had to be able to play, and as you got playing pro, you had to find something to do so you could stick.
Role. You needed a role.
That's right.
Yeah, and like some guys, like you look at like
Chris
Z-Man.
Neal was a perfect example.
Well, and he was a guy that could do a little bit on the ice, but even if he couldn't do it on the ice, you hear stuff like about guys like Biz, for example. Guy used to drop the mitts a lot, but he was also the DJ. Like he's good in the room. Like
he has.
You need to add some kind of substance to the squad. You can't just be the guy that's going to chuck the mitts every night.
Yeah. Find your worth. Be valuable.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Be a team guy.
With that, we will cut it down. We are down to our final frame here.
Point. I had one more.
Yeah,
point.
throw it in there.
Way to go, Raph.
It's all right. We got time at the bench. Go ahead. We're not playing.
I was just gonna say, if you've never looked it up and you're listening to this show, you gotta watch the Lay Chiefs documentary.
Oh yes, I was gonna mention that in our movie episode. That's the greatest hockey movie I've ever seen ever.
Okay. And if you haven't,
it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Looking like he hasn't seen it, so Somerville, you've got to watch it as homework after the
episode. Lay Chiefs.
Yeah, don't even look it up right now.
No, don't. It's about this Quebec league, and it's like the toughest league in the universe.
And the
Somebody's
guys
telling me about
the guys live in the rink, man. It's unreal.
And I knew a guy that we kind of grew up with. His name is Corey Holland, and he's featured in the movie. And it's crazy. They live in you got to watch it. It's nuts. And it's these guys that think they're still going to make it. There's one guy in it, and we won't spoil it, but these are like 30-year-old guys who still think they have a shot playing in the NHL.
They're just
and they're playing in
top hockey.
They're like in Laval, Quebec,
and they're just they're playing good hockey.
Yeah.
One day,
Al McIsaac, and
you never know who's watching them guys. Yeah. Like you never know.
There's a great section on injuries, and it's just you'll crack up when you go through the montage. It's funny, but you got to check it out. Yeah, Le Chiefs, amazing.
Le Chiefs. Actually, if you go onto the BHL website and you check out Langer's Lounge, there's a bunch of movie reviews on there, and there's a link to. And when you click on
it's awesome.
The movie just starts. So, anyways, moving on. Now we can go into the second period. Sorry about that, Ralph. Sorry to chirp you there.
Let us enter the lounge with Langer. All right, we're in the lounge.
Or what?
Well,
all right,
we're
here.
Whistle. Yeah, all right.
That's all right. Yeah, okay. Blow it again.
And the third period is under.
Before I get into it, I'm going to do what Punch did because there's some guys in there. So I'm like you, Wendell Clark. He was the guy, but when I understood that kind of world, it was Tiger Williams because my dad was a big fan of Tiger Williams, and he'd ride the stick and no helmet.
Yeah, that's right.
A total showman. He
was a showman.
Yeah. And he is now. He does a lot of charity stuff, and it's just funny because of what he did and what he does now.
He's that guy. He's one of the guys that just hasn't gone away, and nor do you want him to.
No.
What I mean?
And Wendell was great too, but because of his style, like he was a defenseman. And if you watch old Leaf games, he's a defenseman. And then they move him up to forward. But because of his style, he was a defenseman. But because of his style, though, his body just fell apart. Like I remember he was always hurt, and his back was destroyed from hitting and fighting and stuff. But we all know that. I don't know. One of my favorite Clark moments is when Marty McSorley took a run at Gilmore crossing the blue line in the '93 conference finals against LA, and caught Gilmore at the blue line. And Wendell Clark came in, and there's a famous fight between McSorley and Clark. Like so famous, like there's like oil paintings of the tilt in Maple Leaf Gardens. It was great. So you check that out. That was a good one.
All right.
I used to love John Cordick too.
You got him on my list. So because the Leafs were so awesome in the '80s, they traded Russ Courtnall to Montreal for John Cordick, and then they gave him number 20, or I can't remember what number he was, but Cordick was just he was a
Cordick was 31, wasn't he? He was like a goalie number.
Yeah, he had a goalie number, but he was like he died when he was 27. He was in a hotel room in Montreal. He had a real troubled life, but he was a scary dude. And then we had Craig Berube for a while, and he was scary.
Chief.
Craig.
I wonder what happened to him. Yeah, he used to scare people.
Yeah, he did something like.
So here's Doug Gilmore getting dummied crossing the blue line, and then there's Wendell, and this is great. And there's Gilmore. Bob Cole's going bananas, and here comes Wendell, and they just start chucking knuckles here. Look at the margarine container on McSorley. I miss old hockey. And Wendell, I think, has got a bit of a monkey bum on the top of his head.
It does.
Because he's losing his hair. Yeah, this is great. That was awesome.
Speaking of monkey bums, it's April 1st, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit disappointed at our viewers. Nobody participated in Monkey Tail March at all. We never got one submission. a little gutted. I thought Somerville might come through in the clutch, but no monkey tails in the month of March.
No,
I guess we'll try it again. A monkey tail May it is.
Yeah, monkey tail May.
Monkey tail for May.
All right, get rid of this because I got to get to the goalies because it's all about hockey today might be better. Hockey's it's maybe better hockey. Hockey's better today or whatever, but it's not better hockey.
I love that. I love that after a 6-pack of shows, you can't even remember what your own quote is.
It doesn't matter. It's just not better. It's just not as better as it was. It's way better back then. So
today's hockey.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you. It's just not better. It's just better now, and I'll tell you why. So I was goalie, and you want to get involved in what's going on. And the first guy that I knew that got involved was Billy Smith for the Islanders when they were winning those cups. Now, the thing was, I was watching the game last night. I was watching the Leaf game today, and Zach Hyman scored a goal, and I knew they were going upstairs. And what I realized is today's game, you can't go to the net anymore because as soon as you go to the net, there's odds are you're going to bump into someone, they're going to blow a whistle, you can't score. Back in the day, if you went anywhere near the net, you're going to get it from not only the defenseman, from the goalie. And Billy Smith was the king at the time of you went anywhere near the net, you're going to get a two-hander. There's a great video footage of Gretzky going behind the net. Smith comes across with the stick and swings it behind the net and gets Gretz right on the wrists. And he's like, what are you going to do? And I think he tried to beat up Jim Schoenfeld one night because he cross-checked him in the head and went after him. But Ron Hextall. Ronald Hextall. And Ronald Hextall came into my universe when Glenn Anderson in the 1987 Stanley Cup Finals or playoffs, I can't remember, but it was in 87. Glenn Anderson, the puck went off Hextall. Glenn Anderson skated by and poked him. Kent Nielsen happened to skate by at that moment. Ronnie choked up on the stick and chopped him in half. And if you find that footage of Ron Hextall chopping Kent Nielsen, get rid of Billy Smith. But him chopping down Kent Nielsen is terrifying. He would have got a lifetime ban today if that ever happened. Yeah. And it was like, my God.
It was like full...
it was an axe swing. Like golden axe. Sega Genesis golden axe, 2 hands right in the back of the legs.
It'll be here.
I'm going to get to that one afterwards.
All right, keep going.
So, Ron was insane. He was insane. So, Ron, of course, was the first goalie to actually shoot and score into a net. Actually shoot. Yeah. Billy Smith was the first one. Tough guy.
Car or something like that?
No, it was during the game. They don't hand out cars in the game unless it's All-Star game. But Billy Smith scored the goal. He was the first goalie to score, but he didn't shoot it in the net because there was a delay of penalty. Puck hit him in the pad. The other team shot to the point, missed, and went in the net because he was the last player to touch the puck. He got credit for the goal.
Right in the face.
Terrifying.
Right in the eye, man.
See, you got to find the Kent Nielsen one. It's just, oh my God. Look at that.
It'll be in this highlight reel somewhere.
Look at Carrie Fraser, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
I think this is it here. This is it here. So Anderson takes no. It was on the side of the net. I was watching it today, just cracking up, thinking, "Oh my God, how violent that is." Loved it. So see, you know what, and that's fine. If you're going to leave the net, then you're fair game. If you want to hit somebody as a goalie, or you're going to get hit, don't cry.
Here it comes. See, there was the tap.
Boom.
Oh yeah.
And he said he was sorry. He did say afterwards he was sorry, and he thought he shouldn't have done that, and he got the wrong guy. It could have been any guy, though.
That's
right.
But it happened to be Kent Nielsen who got chopped in half.
How many games is that today?
I don't know.
That would be like...
You're out. You're out, I think.
Depending what the injury is, yeah. Well, I don't know if you'd be... You might be
look at
20
this.
games.
So he taps him on the way by.
Yeah, it was in the nuts though, right?
And he looks. He's like, "Where is he? I'm gonna hit somebody. I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you." Oh. Okay, here's another one for you, Somerville. So Ron Hextall. So in 1989, in the playoffs, it was the year. You remember it was the Canadians and the Calgary Flames, I believe, in the '89 finals.
Yeah.
So the Canadians played the Flyers in the playoffs that year, and Chris Chelios, that's it there, back it up. So you got to back that up there. Chris Chelios landed an evil elbow on Brian Propp. Okay, back it up. Just elbow to the head. Okay? Yeah. So Ronald Hextall, he saw that. And then what happened afterwards was just, again, I remember watching this on Hockey Night Canada, and I'm like, are you kidding? So that's the end of Brian Propp. He's done. So there's Chelios. And if you keep going, you'll see what happens here. So you'll see Chelios in the corner, and then he gets attacked by Ron Hextall. Attacked. And he is and he gears down, like his equipment's off, like he attacked him.
Yeah, he's
and I think Patrick Waugh tried to like fight him, and he's standing at the blue line, and Hextall's being restrained by the ref. Patrick Waugh, man, like whatever, sit down. But I remember that because that was when Chelios, and I thought Chelios is a dirtbag, and Hextall got him. And that was great. I think they lost this game anyway. I think they were eliminated that night. But I remember seeing that. I'm like, he is an absolute lunatic. So, fast forward a few years. I believe it was 1996. The Leafs are playing Philly. The Leafs are playing Philly at the Spectrum. I think it was still called Spectrum. And it was chippy the whole night. And now I remember it, and they don't show it in any video clips, but a guy had skated by Potvin for Toronto, and just as the camera's leaving, you see Potvin two-hand some guy for Philly. Big fight breaks out, and then you hear the announcer go, and Hextall is coming down the ice. And I'm like, oh no, because we know what Hextall's capable of. I'm thinking, I don't know if Potvin's going to like this. And they go toe-to-toe. When you watch the video, everybody on the ice fighting stops to watch them fight.
All right.
And Potvin holds his own. And the funniest part of the clip is Potvin cuts Hextall. And as he's skating away, Ty Domi is sitting on the bench, laughing and pointing at Hextall in his bloodied head, laughing at him. It's priceless. One of the best goalie fights I've ever seen.
All right. Here
it
goes.
It was great.
I remember that fight. That was Hockey Night in Canada as well, eh?
I think so, yeah. So they're going crazy. They don't show the two-hand that Potvin did to start all this. So everyone's wandering around, and Hextall comes down.
Sorry. Rewind.
Here it's okay. Yeah, they don't. It was behind the play. So he comes down. There's Dominic Roussel on the bench for Philly. And there's Wendell. And
there he is.
Here's that Borshevsky, not sure. That's Tucker or somebody. And here we go. Get the helmet off.
Take your helmet off.
Get the helmet off. Goalie fights are so hilarious to watch because they're just so sloppy. And they're just throwing bombs, eh? And Ron gets the jersey over his head, so he's in trouble.
Yeah. And he got a good one there, yeah.
And Felix is he's working him over here. There goes the belly pad. The jersey's in there. Just look at that, eh? Can you imagine going to that game and when Domi is sitting there laughing? It's classic.
I'm just in awe. Like, look at how little padding the goalie was wearing.
I know.
Nowadays,
it's Eric Lacroix. He was a tough guy too. I know, eh? Back in the day, it was great. That's what made them better goalies. They had to move and actually make a save instead of standing there butterflying and getting scored top shelf from behind the net because they're on their knees and stuff. It's awful. Anyway, accountability back then. If you went near the net, you were going to pay the price.
Yeah. Now
you go near the net, somebody's getting a penalty for bumping into the goalie wearing all that equipment, and he can't make a save. Like, come on. Like, it's not better hockey. I'm telling you. It might be good hockey, but it's not better, whatever I said. So, check that out. Good stuff. Ron Hextall, tough guy.
Man, he was a violent overreactor. You know? Like,
insane.
Yeah.
He was, man.
And Ron Hextall was the fourth player in NHL history to win a Conn Smythe on the losing team.
Ooh.
And he did it in 1987 when the Oilers won the Cup. And he won the Conn Smythe.
Look at the three of us, eh? Doing a little research. We're 6 shows in, and we're coming out with, like, obscure stats. None of them have been
great.
verified, but
yeah, we're just making it up.
We're making it up.
Check it out, folks.
And
Wikipedia.
Somerville, I think, has left us. He's gone to the ice for a shift. Coach always picks him. It's not,
I know. Well, he's way better than both of us.
it's not cool.
I always bend over when the coach looks down the bench, so there's just a gap.
Yeah, that's what I usually do.
Tie my skates.
I usually pretend I'm reaching for my water bottle and just avoid all eye contact whatsoever.
Yeah.
And he's officially gone now. We got nobody to blow a whistle. So
That's okay.
So here we are rolling through in the thing.
Just blow the whistle.
So what do we want to tackle in overtime anyways?
Well, I think there's a few guys. I think we need to sort of talk about what's happened because the enforcers and the tough guys have faded out, because there's a new generation, a new style of player that have come in that and I don't like it. You got the dirtbag guys like Marchand that are running around, and Matthew Barnaby was that guy. We're just talking about, are you back? How was that shift? Did you do anything out there or what?
Coach always picks you to go.
Yeah.
It's not even...
Yeah.
Coach
Not
is always
anymore,
like,
I think
summertime, you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we moved on to
Coughed it
overtime,
up.
and we're talking...
Yeah.
We moved on to
How'd we
overtime,
get to-
Summer.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Right.
well, I thought we were about to blow the whistle there.
You can blow a whistle?
Yeah,
Because
okay,
you took the
I'll
whistle
blow
out on the
it.
ice with
Yeah, I
you.
did. All right.
Like, who does that?
Well,
So now we're into overtime.
All right.
So the overtime,
times.
we were just touching on it. Me and Langer just kind of got kicked off there. We were talking about how, with the removal of the enforcer now, we're getting this new pest guy. Like this guy that, well, Langer, you started touching on it before Somerville came back from his shift there.
They've been around for a while now, but I mean, they've learned how to play with the rules that, with the instigator rule coming in, and and the third man in, like it's handcuffed players now to actually sort it out. So you got people like Marchand that are just, I can't stand that guy. Like he's just, the stuff he gets away with, it's disgusting. And remember Matthew Barnaby, like he just,
Sean
like
Avery.
you wanted someone, and Matt Cook taking everyone's knees out and ending careers and
slicing your Achilles tendon.
So you look at a guy like Marchand today, and like some of the stuff that he does, it almost
He's a
falls
ridiculous hockey player. Now.
It almost falls in that window though. Like some of the stuff he does though, it almost falls in that window of travesty of the game type thing. Like
it's embarrassing.
Like licking a guy's face and like just some of the shit he does. Like I personally I can't stand it. I do appreciate his ability, and not just anybody gets thrown on a first line for Canada with
Team Canada,
with Bergeron and Crosby. Like, good on you. You're a good hockey player, but I don't know. Licking a guy's face to me that's over the line.
Yeah, I know.
Well, don't hide behind the ref and then chirp when you're skating. Like, again, guys like that would have been just crushed back in the day. That would have been dealt with severely.
Yes. Yeah.
See, and then
severe consequences.
At the same time, though, with Marchand, the thing is like it's just not needed. Like, because he seems like a beauty.
Well,
like,
that was his game.
I mean? Like,
he would get under people's skin, right? And he
no,
would draw.
but like off the ice, he seems like a really good dude.
Yeah.
But he's
sure
like Sean Avery was one of my favorite pests of all time. He was just so entertaining.
And Fleury was like that too, but I mean, he had a lot of issues though, which kind of contributed to why he was the way he was.
Yeah, but that didn't change the fact that he was unreal on the ice, just being that little. He honest to God, like, Dan Fleury was one of, it's hard to believe, but when I was younger, I was really small. I didn't really get a growth spurt until I was 17. And Fleury was always my favorite guy because I was always the short and small kid.
Yeah.
Like, and he was just like a little pinball that went around all the time. And he was just a motivator. Like, for me, not knowing his history and all the shit that he's gone through and, reading his book and figuring out, like, this guy has some demons.
He's had some tough times.
He was my hero when I was a kid before I knew all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. What about you?
But what I'm trying to say is Marchand doesn't have that history. therefore that has no influence on how he is.
Yeah.
Whereas, from all accounts, Marchand's had a pretty decent, solid life in hockey and life in general.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I mean, I think that's embarrassing. And I'm like, if you're going to be on Team Canada, there's a lot more working parts to being on the team than just being a good player. One of the guys I always thought was interesting, you guys remember this guy, because he lives in Peterborough now. His career was completely ended by Matt Cook, is Mark Savard.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And you go back and look at his career, because he played for Oshawa. You look at his career, he had some ridiculous stats, even in the NHL.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like top 5 in scoring, but never got invited to Team Canada.
Yeah.
No.
So there's always some other stuff going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
you know, you don't really know.
You got to schmooze with the right people, right? Maybe know the
Yep.
right person. Yeah.
I guess he's not a tough guy, but Josh Hosang, I was watching, it was like a Bantam game with the Marlboros, and it's McDavid, Hosang, Sam Bennett, like all these guys are in the NHL, and Hosang's like superstar.
Yeah.
And there's something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something wrong going on there.
I'm sure.
Something going on.
Yeah. Yeah, but you won't know until
All
you
right.
play at that level, right?
That's
or
right.
involved with those people, or yeah,
Well,
it goes on everywhere.
I've thoroughly enjoyed this one, man. Anything else you want to touch on with the tough guy? Like, how about this?
Well, I got a few more before we go too.
All right.
So
Cool.
yeah.
I also got a side question that I'm kind of curious about. Like, who's the toughest guy that you ever played with? Like, give me that tough guy. Like one story of just
Nobody
like,
you're gonna know.
I don't
Like,
care.
Nobody's gonna know.
I don't care. I just want to know the story of why, like, what makes him, like, what did he do that you're like, oh, that guy's a tough guy.
The tough guy.
Like, you know what I mean? Like for me, I'm gonna touch on. So there's a guy that I played with. It's funny enough. Like I probably haven't talked to this guy since I played midget juvenile with him. Nicest guy you'll ever meet in your life.
They all are the tough guys.
Which most tough guys are nice.
Yeah,
right? They're beauties. One of the top scorers on our team as well, but just tough as nails. Like he was 6'3". He was about 6'3", and you know I played with him when we were 18, 19 years old. His name's Scott Hay. He actually ended up being a golf pro, which is funny enough. But I remember him.
We're all
in a
golf
game.
pros.
I remember him in the game. He was like our cop, right? So
brutal.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter what happened. You touch any of our little guys or any of our good players in a way that he didn't deem that was okay, and he wore number 8 just like Cam Neely, and he would go into the corner and he'd make you feel it. And back in that midget juvie day, we used to be able to fight twice. So you could fight as long as you fought in the first before the halfway point of the second period, you could serve 10.
You're good.
You could serve 10 and come back. So you'd get 5 and 10. So you'd get 15 minutes in essence, but 5 of them were covered by the 10. So you get the 5 minutes that you serve, where somebody on your team's got to serve it for you, but that counts towards your 10. So then you get out. So as long as you fought by halfway through the second period, you could fight again. So Scotty had already fought. And Scotty had already fought earlier in the game, and actually so had I, for that matter. So him and I are sitting in the box together, and the whole time we're sitting in the box together, their coach is giving it to us because for some reason at this barn, it was like our team was on one side, the other team was on the other side, and the penalty box was on the same side as their team. So their coach is just 1 foot up on the bench, just yelling at us. So at the end of the game, big melee breaks out. Guy gets butt-ended to the corner. Scotty goes down, sorts that guy out. Then the refs are trying to kick him off and get him right to the door. And he shimmies the ref, gets around him, and their coach has got 1 foot on the bench, 1 foot up on the boards. And Scotty skates around and just pops him with a left cross right in the face, jumps up off the ice to punch him because he's standing up. Knocks this guy, he just gets crumpled and falls into his bench and disappears. Scotty does a half circle, and the Jimmy Superfly snuck a whole body right into their bench, and it is on. And this is just like one of those chaotic things that a tough guy can only start. So I want to know, is there a story like that you guys can not match?
Where the fuck did you grow up, man?
Honestly. Golden Horseshoe, man.
My fucking God.
Golden Horseshoe, man. My babysitter is one of the toughest dudes ever. His name was Dave Carricker. And he used to skate around and protect Keith Primo. He was the fighter. They used to call him the Rat. And he was my babysitter for years, man. He was the one that taught me the pistol. I learned that stuff when I was early.
From your babysitter.
Yeah, bro. My babysitter was the enforcer for the local OHL team, man. So yeah, tough guys are yeah. They're heroes.
I just see you fighting other babies.
Dude, I could do 5 shows.
Hanging around the kidney, just throwing dummies at people.
I could do
drops a diaper and just goes nuts.
I could do 5 shows on enforcers, man. I love the enforcer.
I didn't play any hockey that allowed you to fight. I've never been in a hockey fight in my life. I mean, I've never ever dropped the gloves to fight anybody else. I've never played in a league where fighting was allowed.
Well, hey, I'll fight.
I did once, but
you and me will drop mitts Tuesday because I just found out Cheese won Game 5.
Oh, there you go. And so it is on, baby.
So here we go.
This has just got interesting.
5-game series, man. Me against you. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Cheese just picked up a W tonight in Game 5. Unfortunately, I didn't get
way.
The
holes are out.
It's on, buddy.
Woo. All right. Well,
it's
on.
Fucking cheese, eh?
Fucking cheese.
As in fucks and cheese.
Do you remember? Hey, it's meant to be. Like, I'm in Dunedin right now. Do you remember? Once upon a time, we brought a team down here. We called them fucks and cheese.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We had both jerseys. That's right. Fucking
so there you go.
All right, listen. It's 10:41
Hold on,
p.m.
But I got to get in there. I'm jumping in. Hold on quickly before you go.
I was just saying, Cam, you're done. Please.
Oh, okay.
Get in the fucking box. Langer, you're up. Do it.
So, my buddies Broccoli, Taylor, and Smelty like this one. So, growing up in Peterborough, there's this.
I like
they'll love this.
Already. I just love that.
Smelty's, yeah, he's a good guy. Smelty lives in this house, so they're big into cornhole and stuff. Smelty, I swear he bought this house off of Dirk Diggler and Chest Rockwell, because it's like there's a pool in the basement, and it's you got to see this. So anyway, there's a school in town called Kenner, and Kenner was, for me growing up, was the most terrifying high school in town. It's the South End school. And they always won everything at sports. St. Peter's and Kenner used to fight it out for who was going to win. They had some good guys there. One of the guys that went to high school there when I was there was a guy named Bob Roode, who is now a WWE wrestler and has been a wrestler for a long time now, Bobby Roode. But they were tough guys in hockey.
Rick
and
Roode's brother?
No. Current stuff. But I remember the one year when they were in Casa, when Kenner won the All-Ontario Championship for high school, they had a bunch of guys that won Memorial Cups. And they quit junior hockey to go play high school hockey and win. Like, it was scary guys, though. Like, this one guy, he lost the ring in his Memorial Cup ring, the stone in it, because he got into a fight at the bar, and the stone, like, came out into some guy's forehead or something like that. Anyway. So the toughest guys I remember, there was a couple. There was the Hancock brothers, and they just scared the piss out of me because they could kind of play sports, but they weren't there to play. They were there to beat people up.
Fight people, yeah.
Yeah, they enjoyed fighting, and that used to scare me.
Yeah.
So
I remember guys
that
like
kind of
that,
stuff.
Like, yeah.
Were they brothers too?
I'll stay away.
They were brothers.
Yeah.
And they're great guys to have on your team, but
no.
nightmarish if they weren't on your team. Just just before we go out, I got a few more guys we can throw in there. I just want to let you know I'm wearing a track top with no shirt underneath.
I saw that. Yeah, that's
because that's kind of I think that's kind of greasy and tough.
You got the chain too, which is sweet. Yeah.
If you've ever worn like a jacket with no shirt on, have you done that? Like put on your winter like a jean jacket or something to warm your car. It's kind of greasy, but
freedom, right? Like, ooh.
Yeah, but it makes a statement though.
Yeah.
You a pair of tight small shorts and like a track top with no tarp underneath. Anyway, so here's some
bottoms and a hoodie. What kind of statement does that mean?
Yeah, there you go. Okay, here's some other guys I got to throw out here. Just some names. David Semenko was the police officer for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky's personal bodyguard. He liked to hurt people. Darren McCarty.
Yeah, I was watching.
I met him when he played for the Peterborough Junior Bees, and I remember my sister figure skated before Peterborough Pete's games, and he sat up in the stands with my dad and I. He's from Leamington, Ontario, and this was before he was drafted in the OHL, and obviously before he went to Detroit. Great guy. My dad and I had this chat with him when I was younger, and he scored a beautiful goal in the playoffs one year, and he undressed everybody and scored in Detroit. Who do we got here? We've got Chris Nyland from Montreal. He was tough. He wore number 30, which is that's scary when you're wearing a goalie number and you're winners of punch in the face competition all the time.
That's right.
There was Basil McRae. He played for Minnesota. He played for a bunch of teams, but Basil McRae. Yeah. Joey Koser. He played for Detroit.
Joey Koser.
Joe and Bob used to scare people. And do you guys remember Peter Worrell?
Yep.
Vancouver. He played for the Hull Olympics, and you might remember him from Colorado and Florida.
Yep.
And he was a big, ginormous black dude.
Yep.
And he was huge. He was like 6'7". Yeah, Peter Worrell, look him up. He didn't. And
only he wasn't like Chara. He didn't have to get his own sticks made. But
no, he didn't. But we're keeping with Black Lives Matter and diversity and, trying to be PC and stuff. Yeah. So we've got a lot of diversity in our podcast tonight, which is good because there's a lot of people that'll start crying if there's not. So, Peter Worrell, check him out. He was a tough guy. All right. And that's it, I think. That's a good one. We could probably do another tough guy podcast as well.
I think we could easily do a 6-pack of tough guys for sure.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Thanks for that one, Summer.
Wait, what's going on here? Whoa, wrong one.
Tripping out. What's going on here?
Wrong screen, eh? Yeah.
Tripping out.
Yeah. It's,
anyways, I think that is pretty much going to tie up this episode of...
he's blowing the whistle. I haven't blown the whistle yet.
We got a new ref tonight. Boy.
Yeah, well, you're blowing the whistle. All right, let's do it.
The zebra is the man. And thank you very much, guys, for tuning in this week. And be sure to jump onto our YouTube channel, Hockey House NZ. Click subscribe. Get us next week. And I'm getting drowned out, so here we go. Take it away, Megan.
Hey, help me sing, though, because we don't play. Ready? Because rain the pain, Chronicles of the Fourth Line. I punched the coach out in the dressing room, center during the second period.
Line? I don't know.
Right.
It's on time.
Whatever. That's why we're riding the pain, with Punchy Langer. It's summertime. It's good to be back, boys, and not play. Good stuff.
Good work, boys.
Game 1. Woo!
You're going down.
What are you taking?